You break through the shell. You're 28 centimeters long, and the river you just entered hasn't seen anything like you in 95 million years. The Nile already has crocodiles, 5 meters long, 700 kilograms, the most successful reptile predators on the continent. What it's missing is the thing that made Nile crocodiles look like something you'd keep in a tank. You're a Sarcosuchus. You're going to reach 12 meters and 8 tons. Right now, you're 28 centimeters long, and the river wants to kill you before any of that happens. Your mother is 9 meters long, 4,200 kilograms. She's been guarding this sandbank nest for 60 days without eating, without leaving, and she is the most dangerous animal within 40 kilometers. Every Nile crocodile on this stretch stays 200 meters from her at all times. They don't know what she is. They just know she's bigger, and that has always been enough information to act on. She watches you emerge with eyes that haven't moved in 2 months. But here's what she doesn't know. The last Sarcosuchus died at the end of the Cretaceous, when the asteroid hit and the world reorganized itself around the survivors, and the giant crocodilians didn't make the cut. For 95 million years, the Nile has run without the thing that once sat above everything else in its food chain.
Food chain!
The river filled the gap as best it could. The Nile crocodile grew bigger, got meaner, got good enough that every animal on the continent learned to respect the water. But good enough is not the same as what was here before. What was here before was something the river built its entire food web around, something that shaped the behavior of every animal that ever drank from its banks. What was here before just hatched.
Oh God, this is very real.
And it's hungry, 3 months old, 60 centimeters. The first lesson comes from above. A fish eagle drops at dawn, moving fast, something small near the waterline. You feel the shadow before you see it, a specific darkening of the light, a pressure change in the air above you that your body understands before your brain does. You're already in the shallows when the talons hit the mud where you were sitting. The eagle pulls up empty. Everything in this river is trying to eat you right now, and most of it is coming from a direction you haven't thought to watch. That's your first lesson. The threat you survive is rarely the one you were watching for. 2 years old, 1.8 meters, 90 kilograms. The dominant Nile crocodile finds you. He's 5.2 meters, 680 kilograms, ruler of this stretch of river for 6 years. He has won every territorial challenge this water has produced. He makes the approach that has always worked, slow, submerged, from downstream where the current carries his scent away. He surfaces 2 meters out, opens his jaws. He is the largest thing this river has produced in living memory. You don't move. He processes this. An animal that doesn't flee when a 5-meter crocodile surfaces 2 meters away is either dead or something he's never encountered. He holds position. You hold yours. You're looking at him with the flat, patient attention of something that has done the math and is comfortable with the answer. He decides to leave slowly, the way dominant animals leave when they've chosen to reframe the situation as something other than retreat. That's your second lesson. The river runs on reputation. Yours just started. 6 years old, 5.8 meters, 1,400 kilograms. The dominant male has shifted his territory 12 kilometers south. The other large males followed without any single confrontation forcing them. The river reorganized around you the way water reorganizes around a new stone, completely and without ceremony. The wildebeest crossing is where it becomes undeniable. There's a ford 40 kilometers north where wildebeest have crossed during the annual migration for as long as anyone has been counting. Thousands of animals every year, pushing through in surging waves while the crocodiles worked the churning water. The Nile crocodiles that owned that crossing took tens of thousands of animals over the years. It's one of the most filmed predator events on the planet. This year, 3 of your patrol routes pass within 8 kilometers. You're not there for the wildebeest. You're following deep pools and good fish, but the crocodiles pulled back from your presence, and in pulling back left a gap, and the wildebeest learned over successive seasons that this crossing costs less than it used to. They push through faster. They linger less. Wildlife camera operators who document the crossing notice the kill numbers are down sharply. They spend a season trying to understand why the crocodiles changed their behavior. They haven't found the reason yet, The reason is 10 years old, 8.4 meters, 3,800 kilograms. You take a hippo, a young male, 900 kilograms, separated from his pod in a territorial dispute and moving along the eastern bank looking for somewhere to belong. The light is going. The air smells like mud and warm water and the particular mineral sharpness the Nile carries at dusk. You've been motionless in the deep channel for 2 hours, reading the river the way you've read it your entire life. Pressure changes, temperature gradients, the specific weight of something large moving through shallow water and disturbing the surface in a way that nothing else disturbs it. You feel him before he's visible. You move before he's knee-deep. The strike is over in 4 seconds. He doesn't come back up. Word moves through the river the way it always does, not through sound, through absence. The fishing villages on the eastern bank notice their nets coming up empty where they used to come up full. The fish moved. The fish moved because the birds that fed on surface fish moved. The birds moved because the large mammals that came to the bank to drink moved. The mammals moved because something shifted the arithmetic of what the river costs. Nobody filed a report. Nobody connected the nets to the birds, to the mammals, to the thing in the deep channel. The information traveled the way ecological information travels. Silently, through behavior, one species at a time, until the entire eastern bank had quietly reorganized itself around a fact it couldn't name. That's your third lesson. You don't have to touch everything to change everything. You just have to be real. 15 years old, 11.6 meters, 7,200 kilograms. The Nile knows you now, not in words, in behavior, in absence, in the specific silence that falls over a stretch of water when the thing that owns it is close. The fishermen on the upper river have started calling the deep pool at the river's bend by a different name. The oldest among them have a story passed from their grandfathers about a time when the river had a god. They thought it was a story. They are no longer entirely sure. In the mornings, when the mist sits low and the surface is still enough to show the sky, you hold position in the deepest part of the channel and feel the river moving over you and around you. The current carries temperature and pressure and the weight of things far upstream, information you've been reading your whole life. To the north, past where you have ever been, the faint low-frequency vibration of ships. The hum of a city built on the banks. 10 million people who have no idea the river they live beside is different than it was a year ago. You are not the river's apex predator. You are the thing the river's apex predators measure themselves against and come up short. There is no category for what you are. There is only what the river does when you move through it. Somewhere downstream, a Nile crocodile surfaces, reads the water, and submerges again without moving in your direction. The Nile hasn't been this quiet in 95 million years. It remembers what quiet like this means. It always did. It was just waiting for the reason to come back.